Why, hello there, Poison Tea Party Society. Janet here, and I hope you're ready because I've brewed up a special batch of extra poison for you today. So grab your teacups and let's dive right in, shall we? I came across this legend while doing research for the podcast, and I couldn't believe I had never connected all the dots before. The story of Lady Godiva is not one I've ever learned about in school, and I grew up in the 90s, so I'm willing to bet it's not one the kids are learning about today either. But I can remember several instances throughout my life hearing her name, Lady Godiva. How hilarious that I've gone this long without ever really knowing who she is or what people were referring to when bringing her up. So that had me wondering, how many of you really know the story, the legend, I guess, of Lady Godiva? This tale takes place all the way back in the year 1057 in Coventry, England. There was a prominent man by the name of Leofric, and he was Earl of Mercia. And I guess you could actually call him Leo Prick, because this guy was a total fucking asshole. He was always taking every opportunity to raise taxes on the locals. Leofric was fortunate in many ways, but perhaps most of all, he was married to the most beautiful maiden in the land, Lady Godiva. Lady Godiva was more than just beautiful. She was incredibly kind, generous, and compassionate, and she was completely disgusted by what her husband was doing to the citizens of Coventry. Lady Godiva knew she had to do something. She went to her husband again and again, over and over, both publicly and privately, to plead with him to lower the crippling taxes on the commoners. But each time, Leofric refused. What an asshole. Finally, after enduring yet another public plea from his own wife, a light bulb went off in his head. Leofric thought he had come up with the perfect way to make Lady Godiva abandon her campaign against him. The Earl said, and I quote, "Mount your horse naked and ride through the marketplace of the town, from one side right to the other, while the people are congregated, and when you return, you shall claim what you desire." End quote. I mean, what the fuck? I can imagine the cocky smirk he must have had on his face while he said this. He probably thought there was no way in hell she would ever do this, but to everyone's surprise, especially Leopric's, Lady Godiva accepted this challenge without even the slightest hesitation, wiping that smug smile right off her husband's face. Word traveled through the town that Lady Godiva was to ride naked through the streets in order to free people from their heavy tax burden. And as you can imagine, the already loved Lady of Mercia gained even more admirers. The citizens of Coventry decided that on that day that Lady Godiva was to take her ride, they would all stay home and shield their eyes away from her nakedness to preserve her honor as a way to show their gratitude for her sacrifice. So the day finally came, and Lady Godiva, accompanied by 2 guards, stripped off her robes, mounted her horse, and used her long flowing hair to cover what she could of her naked body. The horse's clacking hooves echoed off the cobblestone as she rode through the streets of Coventry, and the marketplace was empty. The people had kept their word. Well, almost. You see, in the heart of the marketplace lived a tailor and pervert named Tom, and he, like everyone else at the time, had heard of the legendary beauty of Lady Godiva. He couldn't resist the temptation to take a quick peek of her. No one would know, he thought. So, in true pervert fashion, he spied on Lady Godiva in all her nakedness as she rode past his house. But as we all know, karma is a real bitch, and she was coming right for Tom. He paid a hefty price for his decision because it's said that Tom was struck blind afterward. Some renditions of the tale say it was divine, heavenly punishment, and others say the townspeople took it upon themselves to bring Tom to justice and took his eyes out themselves. Either way, from that day forward, Tom became known as Peeping Tom, thus giving birth to a very familiar reference that we still use today. Lady Godiva eventually returned home. Leopric actually made good on his promise to lower taxes, and Lady G goes down in history as a badass woman who wasn't afraid to fight for what she thought was right in one of the most memorable ways possible. The legend of Lady Godiva is certainly inspiring, but did it happen? Most experts say probably not. At least, maybe not in the way it's traditionally told. At the time the story takes place in history, Coventry didn't even have a bustling marketplace paved in cobblestones yet. It was much less grand than the story makes it sound. On top of that, a woman holding a station like Lady Godiva almost certainly would have never rode through the streets completely naked. But she may have dressed below her station as a commoner, and at the time, that would have been seen as more impactful anyway. Experts believe it's possible that the quote-unquote nakedness referred to in the story is actually more symbolic than literal, meant to convey that she was a woman who generously stripped herself of worldly possessions in pursuit of justice for her fellow man. But whatever you believe, Lady Godiva was a real woman, hailed for her generous, loving, and compassionate spirit. She left an inspiring, lasting impression on the world that's still remembered to this day. And as for Peeping Tom, well, he left an impression too, though I'm not sure he's making his mother very proud with it. That's going to do it for Extra Poison tonight. I hope you enjoyed this tiny taste of the finer things in history. Follow us on Facebook and Podbean, search the Poison Tea Party Podcast. Until next time, my lovelies, may your feet not be smelly because, girl, what the helly? And may your poisons be extra. Bye.